Good morning, my beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Let's chat about procrastination. I'm also finding that there is a common connection between the dark night of the soul and procrastination, or just even depression and procrastination, or maybe even anxiety and procrastination. In fact, I believe procrastination creates anxiety. Not I believe, I've seen the evidence. It is part of the research, psychologically proven. Why do we procrastinate? That's sort of the big question. Oftentimes, on the other side of the thing that we are procrastinating is something that we fear. We're afraid that if we open that bill, it's going to be bigger than we expected. Or if we grab that stack of bills and we're ready to pay them, we go to the bank account, maybe there's not going to be enough there. And I know I can relate to that, especially when I was 16 years old, just moved out of the house, leaving a physically abusive relationship. I actually managed to get my own apartment. I found a little old lady who had an upstairs for rent, and she was willing to rent it to me. And I had never had a job. I should take that back. I have never had to pay bills. I actually got my first job at 14 at McDonald's. I was so excited. Wisconsin was one of the few states that would hire a 14-year-old. So I'd been working and I knew how to make money, but the fear of how much is this going to cost? I didn't even know how to do a budget. No one had ever taught me that. And so my bills would stack up and I would have this pile of mail that I just did not want to open because I was terrified and I had no reason to be afraid. And so the bills would be late. And it was as if this procrastination grew, almost like it was an entity or it took on a life of its own. And it would become this giant monster of fear that really was never much more than, a $30 water bill. And it took me many years to finally break that habit, to get to the point where I would pull the mail out of the mailbox and open immediately. And this was well before my awakening. I really didn't realize, hadn't even really started to study psychology at that point, but what I realized was later in life, now that I'm older and educated in this area, what I realized is that there are neural pathways. We have very strong dendrites in the brain. So every time you think a thought, you send energy to a tree-like structure that's in your brain. It starts as a nub, then it kind of grows into a stem, and then it'll branch out. And that's a neural pathway or a dendrite. And the more we use them, the bigger they get, the more they grow. And so every time there's that external trigger, if we have a fully developed, very strong, prominent neural pathway or dendrite in our brain, the energy goes to that area very quickly and easily. And so that's why it may seem like it kind of takes on this life of its own. And it helps me to sort of envision these entities or these beings that take on lives of their own, the monster of procrastination. I like to separate them from me because this is not me. This is not who I am. I, at my highest level, in my heart, my soul, the love that created me, and most importantly, the observer. I am the conscious awareness. I am not any of the thoughts or any of the habits or anything that I've ever done or anything that I ever will do. Those things come and go. The conscious observer is the only thing. And so when I separate that procrastination out from me as this little monster, I kind of pluck him out and say, "Excuse me, I've got you by the neck. You don't have authority and power over me. You're just a habit. You're just a silly little piece of biology in my brain that I can turn into hot air by simply not using you." Beat him up. So procrastination doesn't have to be the monster that it can become. And of course, I'm oversimplifying. And if we're stuck in the dark night of the soul or depression or just a lifelong habit of procrastination, it can seem much bigger than that. And the crazy thing is, these things that we procrastinate or avoid It's kind of like we're going, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to look at you. Oftentimes they're within us. Sometimes it's a chore we have to do or a bill we have to pay. But it can also be, and usually is paired with, if you have something external, it comes along with something internal. As within, so without. A lot of times it's the traumas. It's the limiting beliefs. It's the blockages, the marbles in the cord of our electromagnetic being that block the flow of the divine creative energy that wants to come down in you and through you to allow you to create heaven on earth in conjunction with all of the other beings that are here. And so when we ignore these things, we kind of like try to dance around an elephant that's taking up all the space in the room. Imagine how much energy goes into, I gotta suck in here and I gotta squeeze by there, but I don't see you, I don't see you, I don't see you, right? We have to avoid looking at the trauma. We have to avoid looking at the trigger. We have to avoid looking at the pain that created those things. And the brain is designed to keep us safe. The brain is not always our friend. The brain is not designed to help us grow and evolve and ascend. Although, I will put it this way, there's a caveat to that. If we train the brain properly, it can help us ascend. It can become our friend. But the trauma brain, the avoidant brain, the procrastinating dendrites are not supportive. And so if we're noticing this habit, the reflection of the external is reflecting the internal, it's telling us there's something to work on. And so we can kind of catch that monster, catch that dendrite, catch the brain and say, no, you're not working for me right now. You're not in charge. I am the authority, the conscious awareness, the divinity of our creator, the God spark within us. That's the authority. That's the power. So we grab that monster, we grab that dendrite, and we say, I'm going to look at this elephant, right? We say, brain, you're not helping me. That trauma brain is just kind of like the glass ceiling. Like, I want to break out, I want to break out, I want to break out, but I can't. There's this giant elephant in my way, right? Another analogy would be like having glass shards in our body. So when you have complex trauma as a child, you weren't seen, heard, validated, and your needs were not met. You essentially received the program of not enoughness. And for spiritual beings, it's extremely common. I think globally it's also extremely common, so don't feel bad about it. You are most definitely not alone. I say a vast majority of the world, although it's not scientifically proven yet, but a vast majority of the world is dealing with this. So you are not alone. That guilt and shame or fear of not enoughness that was programmed into you, those are kind of like little glass shards in your body. And by not looking at them, it's like having these glass shards in your body and trying to move around without agitating the wound. Right? Like if I go there, it's going to cut my vital organs. So imagine how much energy goes into dancing around the elephant or not agitating these glass shards in your body. All of your energy. Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't go there, right? And that's why we procrastinate, is because the things that we want to do to help us grow, the things we want to do to help us get from where we are to our soul's mission or our life's purpose, they're mirrors. They're going to bring it up. And so we kind of have a choice. Do we want to step into our soul's calling? Do we want to live our life purpose? Do we want to live a life we love? Do we want to put down the weight and the baggage, clear out the room, empty out? I love elephants. They're beautiful divine beings. The best dream I ever had was riding an elephant. So no hard feelings towards the elephant, but we got to kick him out of this room. We got to pull the glass shards, because those are the very things that are keeping you from breaking the glass ceiling, getting to the life that you love, the joy and the bliss that not only do you deserve, simply because you're alive and you breathe, you deserve happiness, but your needs need to be met. You need joy and happiness in your life. To be the highest level, most powerful spiritual being that you are designed to be, you have to have joy. You have to have your needs met. Those are your compass to get you to where you're supposed to be. So that procrastination of Not wanting to look at the wound, not wanting to heal, takes up all the energy, keeps us from it. But what we don't realize is that it's so much easier than this giant monster of procrastination has made it seem. That when I open the bill every time it comes and I just send somebody $30, or better yet, I set up auto pay on my bank account and I never even have to think about it. It's done. There's always money. The divine always provides. There's always enough. That monster's gone. Got him by the neck. Right? You can do it too. You are not a procrastinator as a person. It does not define you. If you are depressed or in a state of high anxiety or experiencing the dark night of the soul, and you know that there's something that you need to do to get you out of it, but you just don't want to do it, you're afraid of what's on the other side, it seems like this giant monster of a thing, and that monster continues to grow and grow the more you deny it or ignore it. The best news of all is, if you just do it, Nike had something right. It's not a big deal. It's done and over with and gone. Or even just when it comes to facing these traumas, a couple of sessions, we can desensitize these things very, very quickly, and you can move through them and release the floodgates of ample energy that is just dying to carry you to a life that you will love, a life that you were made for, a life that you deserve. Mel Robbins wrote a book, the 3-2-1 something. I'll have to link it or something, but basically I think it was 5-4-3-2-1. She saw a rocket taking off and decided to use the strategy. She had procrastinated for many years, and it was keeping her in depression and addiction and just not being able to get out of bed every day. And one day she just decided to count down 5-4-3-2-1, boom, and she was out of bed. And it works. There's a psychological phenomenon that when you're counting backwards, the brain is being forced to think about the counting backwards instead of not doing the thing you know you should do. It's the same as just do it. Don't let that time in between, from the moment of I need to do this to everything else, right? Those first moments of thought, those are the divine guidance, the intuition, your higher self, the first moment of thought. And everything after that is ego, is the trauma voice, is whatever negative entities or monsters or procrastination demons are trying to hold you down. If you just do it, there is no time for them to come in. And I know it makes it sound so much easier than it feels, but if you trust me, just do one thing. If you've got 100, don't worry about them, pick one. Especially if you're dealing with the dark night of the soul. Address the thing that you know is standing in your way. The thing that prevents you from meeting your own needs. You deserve it. With that, I will leave you. I do free 30-minute sessions if you are interested in getting some help with healing complex trauma, healing the unworthiness wound, learning how to manifest, or learning how to step into your life purpose and make money doing it. Not to mention helping to create heaven on earth. I would love to assist you. I can usually identify the source of abundance blocks in less than 30 minutes. So link is below. I will see you on the next video. I love you so, so much, and I will talk to you soon. Namaste, my friends.